Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Survivor Series 2018 review. First of all, coming out of the show, the only thing that anyone is even talking about is Enzo in the crowd. So, Enzo was there. He started doing his routine. You can't teach that. And, I think he did the soft thing. And, it was awesome. He was in disguise. And then he took it off. Then he stood on top of a chair. Also, he made a comment on Twitter about vaping. I don't know if he tried to vape indoors or what the case may be. But Enzo was the most over thing on the show. Coming off of this for me, we'll get to it. But anyway, guys, before I start, just, we're doing very well with subscribers. I'm very happy that, I was struggling to get to 6K, and already we're almost up to 6,100 subscribers, and I'm very, very happy, and I'm very, very proud that that has happened. So, if you guys are new here and you like what you see by the end of the video, please hit subscribe. Also, there was no Dean Ambrose on this show at all. And we'll get to that one as well. So we started off with the Raw's women's team defeating the SmackDown women's team. And, magically, all of a sudden, Natalya and Ruby Riott are not on the team. Oh, because something happened on the pre-show just in passing. They fought each other backstage. And guess who's replacing them? Guess who's replacing them out of all people? Out of all the women? They picked Alexa Bliss, because she's the team captain. She's the one making the choices. She picked Sasha Banks and Bayley. Now, don't you remember on Raw? Well, of course you don't remember Raw, because who the fuck does? But anyway, there was a match between Sasha and Bayley. All the women from Alexa's team came out, beat them up, and then Ruby Riott was named the replacement. Remember that match was supposed to determine who would be on the team, Bayley and Sasha. But, they just kind of buried those girls. And now all of a sudden, they're back on the team. I don't know if this was scheduled to happen from the start, like if they wrote this in advance or they made a last-minute change, but what? Like Ruby Riott, she worked hard all year just so she could, get the backhand. Sasha's being punished anyway for acting like an asshole, so I don't exactly understand why this happened, but yeah, it also, early on in the match, they're trying to build up Tamina, and Carmella just, pins her out of fucking nowhere. And I'm like, are you serious? First of all, okay, Carmella, they've really sent her down the rankings. She's just a sidekick to R-Truth, and I don't even think they're doing that anymore. I don't know what it is. They're trying different hair colors out with her. I don't think they know where to go with her. What was wrong with heel champion? She was doing fine character-wise. She didn't really have a character, but, she was doing pretty well as a heel. All of a sudden, magically, she's a baby face. It's not even explained why, but, Anyway, so it comes down to Asuka and Nia Jax, and Nia completely annihilates Asuka at the end there. And, there's your match. This opening match, I look at it, and it didn't do any favors for anybody. It really cemented the fact that Asuka is, not going to be a big deal in WWE for some time to come. And this was your Royal Rumble winner. I kind of feel bad, not just for her, but whoever's going to end up winning the Women's Royal Rumble in 2019, because there's going to be one. That they're not going to back away from that. They can't now. I mean, they got to do one every year. So we're going to see what happens. And that person who's going to win it, I mean, are they going to end up winning the belt at WrestleMania? Or are they going to, just fall by the wayside? Just like Asuka, and just end up doing nothing here. Up next, you had Seth Rollins defeating Nakamura. And, they go through this whole match. And where's Dean Ambrose? Does Ambrose do a run-in? No, I think this might have been the first wrestler I've ever seen kicking out of the Shinyasuka. Did I say it right yet, guys? Because I'm not sure if I did. But anyway, this match was really fucking boring. I mean, I kind of got the vibe. I didn't really see a lot of people pumped up over it. But, this was supposed to be one of the many dream matches. The commentators definitely made sure that they said, this wasn't even, in their vocabulary back then. Dream match? That's an internet term. These announcers should not be, invested in smart culture. They shouldn't be talking like they're doing a video for what culture. We're also going to get to that, too, when it comes down to the Ronda Rousey and Charlotte match about, them sounding like smarks, and they did. So Rollins and Nakamura, to me, I mean, it didn't really disappoint for me, but this didn't really feel like the big dream match that, it's supposed to be. It was, so Rollins kicks out of Nakamura's finisher. Nakamura doesn't kick out of Seth Rollins' finisher. That's it. It ends after that. So, okay, Rollins wasn't worried about Nakamura. Nakamura's going to make him pay. Nakamura loses. Great story here, guys. Great story. Braun Strowman was backstage, and he was giving everybody a pep talk. And, he says, I don't like you. I don't like you. And then when he gets to Finn Balor, he goes, you're okay. Finn Balor's career in the WWE has been a very interesting one. He gets on the main roster, and he was probably the only one that I saw, coming out of NXT where they really propelled this guy. They did. They gave him the Universal Championship, within not even 3 months of the guy being there on the main roster. They had him beat Reigns. He went over on Rollins at SummerSlam. This guy was on the top of the world. Then he was buried. Then he started making, a little bit of a comeback. And it's back and forth, back and forth. But what, I guess this is kind of hearkening back to those matches with Braun Strowman and Finn Balor. But, why did, they were having Balor they're having Braun kind of put him over. But that's fine if it was anybody else. But Braun shouldn't be putting over anybody. Honestly, he's supposed to be a monster. He's supposed to be unchained, unleashed, and, no one can control the guy. And what happens? He's basically saying that Balor's an A-OK guy. He's just swell. I mean, this is not the way a monster should be talking. Just completely just losing sight of just his character. And it's not the first time. The Authors of Pain defeated the Bar. Drake Maverick pisses his pants. And you know what's so funny about this? No, it wasn't funny at all. It was really, stupid. It's one thing when Vince McMahon peed himself. But, this is, different context. You could see that, he had, some type of, water pump or something in his pants. Did Maverick. And you see he's constantly, kind of playing with it down there. And then finally he gets it to work, and it gives this, little spurt. And, yeah. So that causes the distraction, and the Bar goes over the Authors of Pain after they just won the titles. No, the Authors of Pain went over the Bar. Did I say that? Yeah. So they caused the distraction. And that's it. I mean, this is the problem here. These are both, newer champions, so they shouldn't be losing right away. So it doesn't really matter. But AOP went over here due to Maverick peeing himself. Do I even need to speak those words? I can't believe fact that I'm even saying that in a review here, or like reading the results here. I mean, I'm watching it, and, you know, Big Show is laughing at him. It's like, you know, and after he does that, it's not even like the Big Show completes the choke slam. He kind of just walks away laughing. Like, he's going to release him and just walk away. And then, you know, we're going to get to what happens on Raw with Drake Maverick. And it's even worse, if that's even possible. During this match is when Enzo made his appearance. And, you know, they shot away from it. Of course, they weren't going to shoot to it. The crowd, though, you know, if you go online, you watch the video, you'll see that, you know, like the crowd was getting into it. Now, a bunch of the Smarks were, you know, happy he got thrown out. And he did. I don't know if he tried vaping inside, but, you know, he was standing on top of the chair and everything like that. And, you know, this is a little bit sad. It really is. It's like, you know, first of all, like I said, anybody, you know, talking about Survivor Series is talking about this. This was the most over thing they had on the show, and it wasn't even on camera. And yet, you know, this is the only story coming out of Survivor Series. And so it's like, would they just make an offer to this guy and rehire him? This was the only guy that was making that 205 garbage bearable to watch. He was interesting. He was one of the best promos on Raw. Even with the Nia Jax thing, even though that thing really wasn't going anywhere fast, I mean, it was still interesting. He was one of the most interesting parts of the show. He was the only person that really had any real sort of character or anything. So, you know, it's like they've hired back so many people who have talked shit about them over the years. Look at the Ultimate Warrior, and they have an Ultimate War. They have a Warrior Award every single year, right? So I think that they could find it in their hearts to reach out to Enzo, maybe apologize to the guy. Yeah, that's not happening. But, you know, the guy was wrongfully accused. You know, Enzo had already said that the reason that he didn't tell them that the police was investigating him because he wasn't even told about. Whatever the case may be, it's a case of he said, she said. It doesn't fucking matter. The guy is a moneymaker. Put him back on the roster. Give the guy a job. I mean, come on. This is like such a waste here. If, you know, right here, like, it just shows like how egotistical they are. Your show fucking sucks. And you're having this guy in the audience. And he's getting all that attention. More attention than AOP and the Bar are getting in the ring. And you're not going to reach out to this guy and try to give him a deal? Honestly, like, that just shows how stubborn they fucking are. I mean, then they had a 205 live match at total fucking random. So I guess these guys aren't part of the Raw roster or whatever, but this was fucking weird as shit. They just threw this on unadvertised. And this is supposed to be a SmackDown versus Raw pay-per-view, and they just randomly threw this on. And speaking of Enzo, this was very poetic that they showed it right after, because holy fucking shit. Buddy Murphy pushes Mustafa Ali. This is who was in the match. It was Buddy Murphy who, you know, won the championship in Australia at the Super Showdown show. Pushes him off the top rope. Backwards, mind you. And he careens. He bashes the fucking back of his head right into the barricade. Off the top rope, slamming into it. Are they fucking nuts? I mean, honestly. When you have 3 women out with concussions. You saw one of them tonight in Alexa Bliss. You also have Zelina Vega. And who's the other one? I can't quite remember at the moment. Oh, Becky Lynch, of course. Like the one of the most like popular concussions. I hate to have to say it that way, but one of the most well-known ones. You're doing a spot like this, honestly? Like, this is what you're gonna do? I mean, shit. And no one's gonna remember this the fucking next day. Anyway, Buddy Murphy goes over. So many fucking different dangerous moves in this match, but that one fucking took the cake. The guy just fucking flying backwards into the barricade. Team Raw defeated Team SmackDown. And, you know, my God, like, Raw is just rolling over SmackDown at this point. Just fucking destroying their asses in every single match. We'll get to that in a bit. So, it comes down and it's like, it's Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, and, I don't know who the other person was. There was like 3 people left on Team Raw. And it comes down to Shane McMahon. And then, you know, I think maybe Braun pinned Shane or whatever the case may be, but they fucking buried him. The team, more so. Like, destroying the team. And this is what happened last year, didn't it? Didn't it come down to Shane McMahon? It was the same fucking thing? Where it was Strowman and Triple H. You know, that weird thing where he kind of just, you know, had Kurt Angle get beat. Similar thing. And, you know, you also had like kind of a similar spot where Drew McIntyre cost Finn Balor, you know, the spot in the match and got him eliminated by attacking him. It was the same fucking format. Anyway, moving on, because there's more important stuff. Like, that was just a bland fucking match. Shane did his spot from the top onto the table, but we've seen it 1,000 times. You know, it's like they don't even reserve it. It's just every single time he wrestles, he has to do that spot. And it's a shame I have to say that, because the guy's putting his body on the line to entertain, and he isn't even an actual wrestler. Ronda Rousey defeated Charlotte by disqualification. So, you know, they did a little something out of the ordinary by having Charlotte turn heel, attacking her with the kendo stick. I guess it's because, you know, they don't know when Becky's going to be back or anything like that. But, you know, they're talking about it on this show. You know, they talked about it more on Raw, so maybe I'll save the rant for then. But, you know, still putting over the fucking punch of Nia Jax. I mean, I hope to God they reopen that case. That lawyer from that concussion lawsuit, I hope he comes back. He sees how they're putting over the punch. They're calling Nia Jax the face breaker. We'll get to that in the Raw review, because they talked about it more at length. This was a great fucking match. I mean, this was probably the only match so far where I really started to get into it. I really started to be entertained. Ronda's a great worker. Charlotte is one too. I mean, this was better than I could have hoped for. And at the end of the match, like, Ronda's getting the shit beat out of her by the kendo stick. And Charlotte, you know, is the heel. And the crowd is chanting, "Thank you, thank you, Charlotte." For what reason? It's like I don't even get it why. It's like now all of a sudden the crowd doesn't like Ronda Rousey. The girl has put it all out there. This was a great match, and now they give her the Roman Reigns treatment for no fucking reason. Let's just turn on Rousey for no reason. And this is coming from a guy that made a Ronda Rousey sucks video at the beginning of the year. Because, you know, just like a lot of people, I saw her on Ellen. I didn't like the hey ho deal, you know, coming in with the big old smile on the face. But she really showed me that she has what it fucking takes. And she's like way better than most of the girls on the roster that have been there for fucking years. Better than Bayley, better than Sasha Banks, better than a lot of these other fucking girls. More impressive than Asuka, for example. So, you know, to be fair, you know, that video is a moot point now. You know, I don't stand by the... And there was a few videos I made even on that topic. Go back and watch them. See how I changed my tune. And the crowd just like, you know, they're showing Ronda, you know, looking at the crowd like in disgust. And she even said something to somebody. She goes, "You're not a man." I think because he says, you know, "I am the man," like Becky Lynch. You know, it's such fucking smarts. I hate this audience. And it ain't just the Staples Center audience. I hate all wrestling crowds that are like this. I told you I got my first exposure to a smart crowd when I attended Ring of Honor in Lake Grove, Long Island back in the day in 2005. And I thought that it was funny. I said that it was a lively crowd. It was a different crowd than what I was used to from a WWE event. So I went along with it. I thought it was cool. I thought these people had personality, and they were just showing how much they enjoyed the show. Little did I know that when it was on a bigger stage, how fucking annoying it truly was. And it really affected the quality of the show and putting these storylines over. I guess that's why it didn't really matter so much in Ring of Honor. There wasn't big time storylines. They don't have a big national TV deal and all that shit. So it didn't really matter so much to me. I wasn't really kind of analyzing it like that. Kind of like I do now. Also, I was younger. We're talking about 13 years ago. My, mind has changed greatly since then, and how I view the world and people. So we'll move on to the main event and the champion versus champion match, where Brock just tears fucking Daniel Bryan apart in the opening minutes, and then he does a comeback at the end. And the comeback was a little bit unbelievable. He turns the tide with a few kicks, and he was killing Daniel Bryan. And I don't get this. So, speaking of concussions and all that, and you want to talk about the guy who is like the king of concussions, he was out for 2 years because of a concussion, problem, kept getting them. He was getting concussed left and right. So they were holding him out because the WWE doctor wouldn't approve him to wrestle. All the other doctors were saying he was, he could wrestle and all that. But they were keeping him retired because they cared about Bryan. And I supported that. If they weren't sure that that guy could go out there and compete without getting hurt, that was probably the one few things that I could say good about the company. At least they cared about him. At least they cared about the guy's health. Mind you, they were still doing dangerous-ass spots. Shane McMahon was still flying off the top of a Hell in a Cell and all this shit while Bryan was in retirement. So it was hypocritical, but whatever. At least we can say that the individual was being kept safe. Here he's getting tossed around on the back of his fucking neck. One specific German suplex looked particularly horrifying. And, I don't know. So they gave Bryan a lot against Brock. This was an exciting match. The way how the tide was turned, I could understand if there was some interference. Maybe that Braun Strowman might have run in and, maybe attacked Brock, and inadvertently helped Bryan. But it seemed like this show was standalone. And I said that in my Raw review or SmackDown. I said it on one of the show reviews right before this one. I said it's a standalone show. I already said ahead of time, you're not going to see any interference. You're not going to see any crossovers from any other storylines. You didn't see any Dean Ambrose in the Seth Rollins match, which is inexcusable. I mean, that would have been the perfect time if you were going to give Nakamurphy a win. Just have Dean Ambrose run in, while the referee is knocked out, start beating, hit a dirty deeds on Rollins, have Nakamurphy get a win. Simple as that. They didn't do that. They didn't have anything like that. But this truly was. I didn't actually care too much about, how they turned around the match. I really liked it a lot. And I really didn't like this show. But, so Ronda Rousey and Charlotte, Brock and Daniel Bryan. I mean, when Bryan did the near falls, see, those were believable near falls. And I liked how he worked the leg on Brock. And then there was this one part where he had been working the leg. He slams it into post. He's been kicking it. He's been doing different moves to his leg. And then he goes for the F5. And then Brock collapses because he can't use that leg. That was great. There was psychology in the match. They did. This match was better than AJ versus Brock from last year, from what I remember of it anyway. And of course, when Bryan comes out, the fans are like, we want AJ. So I found out that AJ wants a reduced style, a reduced schedule. I mean, similar to the style of Randy Orton's schedule, which is a weird-ass schedule, but he's there sometimes. It enables him to see his family more, so that's why he lost the title. Anyway, this show was really just kind of shitty. I mean, there was two good matches on it at the end. Enzo, kind of stole the show in a lot of ways, and it wasn't even on fucking camera. But he's the only thing that people are talking about coming out of this show. Even if people hate him, they're still talking about it. Whether it's saying it was stupid, whether it was saying it was over, whatever the case was, it was over. The crowd was pretty hot for it. Those who saw him there, it drew all the attention away from their exciting tag team champion versus champion match. So that tells you all you need to know right there about what people really want to see. And at the end of all this, does anyone notice the result? That they ended Raw with 6 wins and SmackDown got 0. And most people are saying, oh, but the pre-show. And I was even having a discussion with this on Facebook with my friend Ryder or Riot. It was saying, oh, but they won the pre-show. They won't acknowledge it. And other people are saying this too. It doesn't matter. If you are on the WrestleMania pre-show and you're not on WrestleMania, the main card, you're not on WrestleMania. So if you're on the Survivor Series pre-show, you sure as hell are not on Survivor Series. That's why it's called the pre-show. It's pre the show. It happened before the show. So it doesn't really count. I don't even know why they bothered to do that. But, like, why are they burying SmackDown? They've always done this. This happened last year, but there were SmackDown people winning. Now it's like they completely bury it. So I don't know if this is like part of a storyline or something, but I don't think that it is, because they've always treated SmackDown as the black sheep. And I don't know why that it is, because there was a time when SmackDown would get even higher ratings than Raw. Like I said, SmackDown beat must-see TV, but you already know that. I've been saying that on this channel for years. Why do they hate it so much? Why does McMahon hate SmackDown so much? I mean, this is the show that's got the deal with Fox. It's now going to be on the bigger network than even Raw, which is on the USA network. They're both on USA. So this one, they should make SmackDown, if anything, bigger than Raw, because that's, it's going to look like a premiere show. It's on a huge network like Fox, where all these successful shows happen. So it's really beyond me why they beat SmackDown into the ground like they did and had a clean sweep. It kind of doesn't make any sense unless it is part of a storyline, but they don't really do storylines anymore. So that's why I find it a little bit hard to believe. So anyway, guys, there's your Survivor Series review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, please hit subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. If you hated it and you think that I'm a fucking moron, hit the thumbs down. But hit the bell so you get all the notifications I post on my new videos. If you are subscribed, check out some of the other content I have posted here. And this has been your YWC champ. And I'll see you for the Raw review.